in this tutorial, we're going to do this effect. Now, it's actually really easy to do, so follow along and I'll show you how to make that drip effect. So the first thing we're going to do is a new composition, 1920 by 1080. We'll make it 30 frames per second and 10 seconds long. Go ahead and hit OK, and we have our new comp right here. We're going to go ahead and click on the text tool, and we're going to go ahead and type in melted. We'll use that as the phrase. And then what we're going to do is we're going to center it and make it bigger. So first thing we're going to do is make sure that we're highlighted here, hit S on the keyboard, and we're going to make it bigger. And then let's go back here, and I'm going to go to Window and Align. Let me move this over just so you can see it a little bit better. And I'm going to hit that button right there. That button will align it to the composition. And then I'm going to hit this button to, now it's perfectly centered in the composition. Now that it's perfectly centered to our composition, we're going to go ahead and go to our effects panel, and we're going to type in CC Smear. It's right there. Go ahead and drag it onto the text. And what you're going to see is it kind of does one of these things. Now I'll explain a little bit about how this works. So the way it works is you have this CC Smear, and you have where it's going to start from and where it's going to smear to, and then you have your reach and your radius. So the first thing is let's put it on the M. So in order to put it on the M, we're going to have it go from here. So I'm going to click this button to make the crosshairs, and I'm going to go from about right here. And then I'm going to click on two crosshairs, and I'm going to have it go just below the composition. And if we zoom in just a little bit, you'll see it kind of goes off right here. It's not quite wide enough, so we're going to adjust the radius a little wider to maybe something like that. So now I'm going to scale back out, and we can see our whole comp. That's how it's going to look. The other thing that I need to do is I need to make sure that I actually turn the reach off to 0. So I'm going to hit the keyframe on here, and I'm going to hit, or the stopwatch rather, and I'm going to hit 0. And then that is going to make the reach 0, and then I'm going to go a few seconds ahead, like maybe 2 seconds, somewhere around there, and I'm going to drag that down, and I'm going to make the reach bigger, and I'm going to go probably like 650, and that will get rid of the reach so that it looks like it's dripping. So now if you look at it and you play through it, it's dripping. Now it doesn't exactly, it's kind of a little bit jerky. So we'll hit U as we're selected on this layer, hit U, and it's going to bring up the keyframes for this reach. And what we're going to do is we're going to highlight both keyframes by clicking and dragging. They're both highlighted now. We'll go ahead and hit the right click button and go to Keyframe Assistant, and we'll go to Easy Ease. Or if you hit F9, that's the keyboard shortcut. Now we'll look at it, and that looks a lot better, but we're also going to adjust the radius, or how quickly it drops. So in order to do that, we're going to go to our graph, and we're going to look at this right here. As you can see, it kind of is even. We're going to click on this button, and it's going to give us two little yellow lines. We're going to click on this line, and we're going to drag it all the way that it'll go. Now what it's going to do is it's going to adjust the speed at which this drops. So it's kind of a little slower and then goes fast. So, and I'm happy with that. That looks pretty good. Now the other thing that you can do is if this is taking too long to drop, then you can move this keyframe a little closer and it will make it go quicker. So that actually to me looks pretty good. So now that I've done that, and it's dropping, looks pretty good, we're going to go ahead and duplicate this CC Smear. So in order to duplicate it, we're just going to hit Command D with this highlighted, and now we have Smear 2. And if we go back to this layer and we hit U, hit it twice, now you're going to see Smear 2, Smear. So both of those are on there now. So now what I can do with Smear 2 is I can click here and I can change where. So let's say maybe I want to do the T as part of the melted. So I'm going to say from, and I'm going to click right here. And then I'm going to go 2, and I'm going to drop just below the composition again to right there. Now, if I play it, they're both dropping. And I could duplicate it again to do the exact same thing. We'll go from here and go to the D, and then 2, and we'll have it drop right there. So now there's 3 of them. And that looks really cool, except for the fact that they all kind of go together. So I'm going to hit the U on the keyboard twice, and it's going to show me all 3 of them. And then I'm just going to adjust the timing of these keyframes so that they're a little bit off. So now when we do it, and you could do that, you could duplicate this as many times as you want to have it. So if you wanted to do every single text, you could do it with every single one of them. The other thing that you can do now is, if you wanted to, you can just go ahead and hit U. We can duplicate this layer by hitting Command D, and then we'll go to the bottom layer here. We'll hit return, and we'll call it melted outline. And then what we can do here is we can adjust that by going to our character palette and making it so that we have just the stroke showing up. And then let's hit down a little bit, and you can see now there's another layer with it, and that the drip will still work with it. So with just a couple of those, and you could do even another layer. And let's put that one down below and bring it down even further. Now all of a sudden you have a pretty cool look. And if it's too far, you can kind of bring it a little closer. And that's pretty cool. The other thing that you could do is you could go back to the main melted, which is this one, and you could turn on the stroke and make it black. So now the text stands out. And you could obviously change the color. You could do different things. That could be done in another video. This tutorial is really just to show you how easy you could do some animation or smear effects to make it look like the text is dripping. And you could add that really quickly on any of these. All right, guys, thanks for watching the video. Hopefully it was something that you found very helpful. And if you did, consider giving me a thumbs up and subscribing. Thanks for watching the videos.